It is a little past midnight for Sunday, September 28th. The reason I'm doing this a little bit later is that a couple of things. I I was reading a really long research paper about biorobotics for my computer science class and how that models things, like and modeling and simulation as a whole. And oh my God, that was the most frustrating read I've ever had because, for one, it was really scientific language, so that required a lot of attention. It was 62 pages, and each page on the PDF was essentially 2 pages, so it was 120 pages, and that took so long, and I felt so uncomfortable during that because, again, when I read, everything around me becomes amplified. Like, I hear more things, my brain tries to go other places, but every discomfort that I feel is amplified by 10, and it's so difficult to read. And it's not that, like, oh, I need to be moving. It's literally just be like, my shoulder hurts. I can only feel that and focus on that from now on. And it's like really frustrating. But I also have been trying to do my interview questions, and they're kind of like nothing. I still have to get the actual like background information on the guy that I'm interviewing. So I've been trying to go ahead and doing some of the questions that I know I just want to ask in general, or some ideas about what I just want to ask in general. And then I was like under the assumption, just because this is a relative of my professor, that this guy would be a little bit older, maybe in like the 40s or 50s, especially because he was a CEO of a company. And apparently he's in like his 30s, which is not a big deal. I knew he was going to at least be older than me. But I was assuming that he kind of like went through the prime of his life in like the 2000s. Like maybe went to college from like in that time, or been like conscious. Because I really want to ask questions. Like there's one specific question where it's like Korean media, like Japanese film, Korean film, U.S. film, like their grittiest times really came about in the 2000s. I wanted to ask, like, oh, do you remember anything about this time that you think that could have influenced such a thing? And he was like 11 or 12 or 13. So it's a little bit hard to ask that question, but I think it's a really important question to ask. Like, so I said, like, added, like, as young as you may be, like, do you remember stuff from that time that was important? Is there anything that was, like, going on, or is it just coincidence per se? But yeah, that's going to be interesting. And it's also, I really wanted to ask, well, I'm still going to ask about the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting. And I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more, but it was, I think the year before he went into high school. I can't tell. I really don't have an age profile on this guy. I just know that he went to Harvard from like 2012 to 2016. That's all I know, because I found his LinkedIn page. But yeah, I got to do that. But the main thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to make it quick, is I work out legs a lot. I mean, a lot being twice a week, but I also have practice twice a week, which is inherently just a leg workout. And my legs are big enough now that I don't want them to get any bigger, because I already have enough trouble fitting into clothes, because my proportions are kind of out of whack just due to the nature of the sports I play. Also because, like, the proportion size of, like, my legs to my waist is crazy. Like, my waist, like, for, like, the size that I should be wearing, my waist is probably about, like, 3 sizes smaller. It's dumb, and it's really, really frustrating to try and find, like, dress pants. But I work out legs, and I realized that even though that in almost every single building in this school there's an elevator, I have never used an elevator at this school. When I was at boarding school, I used the elevator, I think, one time, and that was because when I was walking in carrying some groceries, coming back from a small vacation, or coming back, I think, from like Thanksgiving vacation, one of my professors who was on my floor was coming in, so he offered to get a ride in an elevator with him. And so I just went up with like a bag full of groceries. So I'm like, oh, that's great. But I just don't use elevators at all. Like, at school, at a hotel, or when I'm carrying, like, luggage, I will, obviously. But I kind of feel like I've made it a point of pride that I haven't, that it's exercise, almost. Like when I get done with, like, hockey practice or a leg day and go to the classroom I like going to, which is where I'm in right now, which is on the 3rd floor of this building, and there's an elevator just down the hall, it is so hard for me to go up those stairs. Like, I'm literally have my both hands on the railing and pushing with every step because I'm so tired. And I think that's just really funny. And that's all I gotta say. It's tomorrow. I have to polish out those questions and I have to do some citing. But that's it. And I really need this guy. I don't expect a response over the weekend, but Monday I need this information so I can, like, really personalize these questions and turn my assignment in. But then, yeah, we'll have our first games are gonna be Friday, Saturday, both away games. They're both their 2 games are at the places the farthest away from my campus, which is awesome, in directly opposite directions of each other. First game is north, second game is south. And that's going to be fun. But I also have 2 exams this week, but that means that next week is fall break, which is a lot earlier than I, like, remember it feeling. Like, last year, a lot of pain. Because I got severely sick the week before fall break. Like, I went and I stopped halfway and got a hotel room, and I was having, like, literal hot flashes. Like, my body was just, like, steaming. It was so hot. I was sweating so much. And it lasted, like 4 hours in the night. It was so unbearably painful. Or uncomfortable, painful is that. But then literally the next night I get home, I fall asleep. I wake up twice in the middle of the night because I sweated so much that literally my sheets, my pillow, like the literal pillow, and like the mattress cover was wet, and it was so awful, and I had the hardest time doing that. And then I think the next day, when I finally slept, I went to bed at like 12, and then I got out of, like, I woke up for the first time at 3 p.m. Something was wrong with me back then. And so hopefully at this time I do not get sick. But we'll just have to see. I somehow did not catch an illness from my roommate, who was so inconsiderate about dealing with his illness. But yeah. So now I'm going to go down 2 flights of stairs, walk up the hill to my dorm, go up 2 flights of stairs without taking the elevator, because I'm strong like that.